Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of a predictions video on the channel today. This is a special kind of predictions videos. We're going to go through round by round my predictions of the playoffs. But before we get into that, I want to quickly state at the very start of the season, we did a video based on the predictions of the drivers that I thought were going to make the playoffs at the very start of the season. I'm going to quickly roll off the drivers I had gotten right and the drivers I had gotten wrong. Actually, I went 13 for 16, getting 13 of the correct playoff drivers correctly, only 3 of them wrong. The 3 drivers that I ended up getting wrong would have been Michael McDowell. I did not have him in the playoffs. I don't think anybody saw him winning the Daytona 500. I did not have Eric Almirola making the playoffs, believe it or not, and it looked like for most of the season that was actually going to come true, but with that win at New Hampshire, he ended up getting late in the year. It obviously helped him out there. And surprisingly, I did not have William Byron making the playoffs either. So I thought he was going to take a step back. I didn't really have a lot of faith in him that he almost missed the playoffs the year before. He was a few years into Hendrick. He didn't get that first career win until last year. And sure enough, he won the third race of the year at Homestead this season. And he's had one of the more consistent seasons of any driver so far this season. I believe he finished third or fourth in the regular season standing. So kudos to Byron. I was definitely wrong on that. The drivers I did predict to make the playoffs of the ones that I got wrong. I did have an upset predictor for Daytona this year. It was not Michael McDowell winning, though. It would have been Ricky Stenhouse Jr. winning a Daytona race this season. So I got that wrong. That is why I did not have McDowell in, but I was very close. I was on the right track thinking that there was going to be an underdog winner this season. I just predicted the wrong underdog winner. I also had Chase Briscoe making the playoffs as well, and the only reason I even had him making the playoffs was the Indy Road Course. I thought that was a race he could have won. Sure enough, he almost did, but almost wasn't good enough. So I had him making it. I guess that would have been my other SHR card instead of Almirola. I would have had Chase Briscoe making it. And then I bought in on the Bubba Wallace hype at the very beginning of the season, thinking 23-11 was going to give him a shot to make the playoffs. Now, I did not predict him to win a race this season, but I predicted him to make the playoffs on points. Tyler Reddick got that last spot on points. Now, I did predict Tyler Reddick to make the playoffs this year on points, and he ended up doing so. I ended up, instead of again, I figured Willie Byron was going to take a huge step back this year, so that's where I got that one majorly wrong. But outside of that, the other 13 were correct. I did have Bell making the playoffs. I did have him winning a couple races this year. So far, he's only won one, but I had him winning 2 races. I had Alex Bowman winning 2 races. He's won 3 this year. I had Blaney winning 2 races. He has won 3 so far this season as well. So we'll see what the rest of the playoffs will bring on. Now we get into the playoffs this season. So how do I think drivers are going to go round by round? You can see I got the tier list made up. All those drivers on the round of 16 you see on that top tier right now. And we're going to leave the eliminated drivers in that round and move the drivers who I think are going to go round by round forward. So first we're going to start off with, and this is going to be a very in-depth video. I don't know how long this is going to take. Hopefully it'll be in that 20 to 30 minute mark, which is what I'm hoping for, because we are going to get through everything here. We're going to talk about every driver round by round. I have the statistical analysis of why I think so and so will get eliminated when and where. So we're going to start off with each driver in particular order based off the regular season standings. Kyle Larson, I think, is an easy lock to make it into the round of 12 of the playoffs. Larson was very good at Darlington this year, finished a close second. He's got a career win at Richmond. We know he's very good at Bristol. He's pretty much been good all the way around. He won the regular season championship, so he's got a ton of playoff points. Easy lock for the round of 12. Another easy lock for the round of 12, I think, is going to be Kyle Busch. He's been one of the more consistent drivers this year. He spun rally to get a top 5 finish earlier this season at Darlington. I think if he didn't spin, he would have been one of the contenders there as well. We know he's a great short track racer, so I think it's very good that he's going to have solid runs at both Richmond and Bristol. Same goes for Denny Hamlin, very good short track racer. He's got a few career wins at Darlington as well, and in recent years. I think that's going to go into his favor. I think Kevin Harvick is going to be an easy lock for the round of 12 as well. Now, he doesn't have a lot of playoff points compared to those other, even a couple of those other drivers I just stated, but he is very good at Darlington. He had won there twice last season. He is very good at Bristol as well. He won there last season. Now, I know Stewart-Haas Racing has not had the success that you would think so far this year. that Harvick could be in trouble. Well, I don't think he's in trouble in the round of 16 because they have performed a lot better on the 750 tracks compared to the 550 tracks. You look at Harvick's best race this season, came at New Hampshire, very similar track to Richmond. I think he could have a good performance there. He finished in the top 10 in both the Richmond race earlier this season as well as the Darlington race earlier this season where he finished sixth. So I just don't see Harvick not putting up consistency. I know he doesn't have playoff points, but if he runs consistent, round of 16, if you just get top 10 finishes, you're going to make it into the round of 12. There will be at least a few drivers that will have some troubles, that is for sure. Another driver who I think is a solid lock is going to be Alex Bowman. He's got a lot of playoff points, and why I put him as the next solid lock is simply because Alex Bowman so far this season has run really well on the 750 tracks. Obviously, he has a win earlier this year at Richmond. That's one of the races in the round. He is very, very good at Darlington as well. I think he can have a solid run there. And if he has two super solid runs with the playoff points he has, he doesn't even have to finish top 10 at Bristol. A top 15 will do. I think he can easily do that. So I got Bowman in the next round. Another driver is William Byron. He has been super, super consistent this year. Hendrick Motorsports as a whole has been super consistent. So I feel like William Byron is an easy lock for the next round. Most of Byron's success has come on 550 tracks or road courses, but I still think the consistency is going to play better for him. He doesn't have a whole lot of playoff points because he only has one win on the year, but there's a lot of drivers with just one win as well. His statistics so far in the first three races of the round, I know they haven't raced at Bristol on concrete yet, but he ran very good, had a top 10 at Richmond, had a top 10 at Darlington. I don't see why that'd be any different this time around as well. Surprising drivers. Hang on, let me throw Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott's another lock. I got a couple more. Chase Elliott is a definite lock. Same thing goes for Hendrick Motorsports this season. They've just been so dominant everywhere they go. I think Chase Elliott will be fine. He won the All-Star race at Bristol a year and a half ago. So or a little over a year ago, I guess now. So he's got success there. Richmond is going to be the worst track for him, but he performed very well in the playoff race there last season and at the spring race earlier this year as well for Elliott's sake at Richmond. So I think he'll be fine. Martin Truex Jr. is another solid lock for the next round. All three of his wins this year have come on 750 tracks, one including Richmond and one including he has a couple wins at Richmond. He won at Darlington earlier on in the season. Bristol, his only weak spot in this round, but again, he's got a lot of playoff points with 3 wins on the year, decent amount of stage wins, good regular season finish. I think he will be fine. Drivers who I think are going to be eliminated in this round that I'm just going to kind of put off to the side for right now. I think Eric Almirola is going to get eliminated. The bright spot for Eric Almirola in this round of 16 is, again, Stewart-Haas Racing has been a little bit better on the 750 tracks than the 550 tracks. For Eric Almirola specifically, Eric Almirola only has 3 top 10s this year. They've all come on short tracks, 1 mile and less, which means they've used the 750 package. A win at New Hampshire. He finished 6th at Richmond earlier this year. That race is in this round as well. And he also has a pretty solid finish on another 750 track, which off the top of my head, I cannot think of for whatever reason. But he did end up finishing very well. Dover, I believe it was. No, it wasn't Dover. Crap. Anyway, he has 3 top 10 finishes all on 750 tracks. The problem is he doesn't have great statistical success at Bristol or Darlington particularly. So I think that's going to bite him. Obviously, lack of playoff points as well with just the 1 win this season is not going to help him either. Not a good regular season finish, so he didn't get playoff points there. No stage wins, so I don't think Eric Almirola will make it to the next round. I think Michael McDowell's dream season is going to come to an end as well. He does have more top 10s than, say, Eric Almirola this season, but the problem with him is that all 5 of those top 10s came in the first 13 races of the season. He has not had a top 10 in the second half of the regular season. His 2 finishes at the tracks we've ran at this year, Darlington and Richmond, that are in the round of 16, 24th and 27th, so I don't see McDowell making it into the next round. And another driver I see eliminated in the round of 16 is Tyler Reddick. I really wanted to put Reddick up there because he has had a very strong end to this 2021 regular season. The problem for Reddick, though, again, we go to these tracks that he hasn't ran at well. Darlington, he did not run at well last season. This year, he finished 20th. He finished 12th at Richmond, which is a little better, but if you don't have the playoff points, you really have to have strong, consistent finishes. I mentioned for Bowman earlier, I think he can get strong, consistent finishes, and even if he doesn't finish as well at Bristol, he's got the playoff points. Reddick doesn't have the playoff points, so 2 finishes outside the top 10 should do him in, and I don't think he's going to get a top 10 at either one of those tracks. Bristol, he did finish fourth at last year in the summer, but in my opinion, he's going to have to go out and win that race because I don't think he's going to run particularly well in the first two races of the round. So that could be troublesome for Reddick. Now we go into drivers who I think are barely going to slide their way into the next round. We're going to start off with Christopher Bell. Bell has good finishes, both at Richmond. He finished well at Bristol. We know he has a couple Xfinity wins there as well. And he also had a decent, solid top 10 run earlier this season at Darlington. So I think that's going to do him in very, very well. He doesn't have a whole lot of playoff points, but I think he will make it in, and all four JGR Toyotas will be in the round of 12. Another driver who might be a little risky in this round, but I think is going to make it through is my guy, Ryan Blaney. This is not biased. Again, Blaney's worst racetracks are in this round of 16. I don't think that's any surprise. He was eliminated in the round of 16 last season. But for this year, Ryan Blaney has finished very well at those racetracks. I know Dirt Bristol isn't the same as Concrete Bristol, but he has had great speed at Concrete Bristol in the races he's finished. It seems like the races he DNFs is when he just kind of overdrives the race car or something freak accident-wise happens in front of him where he's got nowhere to go. He has led nearly 400 laps at Bristol since 2018. He just hasn't been able to get the finishes along with it. Unless he does finish the race, it doesn't lead a lot of laps. I look at the All-Star race last season being one of those factors. Even last year in the round of 16 race, he had a top 10 finish, but because of the two bad races he had in the round prior to that, a top 10 wasn't going to be good enough for Blaney. He was basically in a must-win situation. Well, he's got playoff points to back him up this year as well. I think that's going to help him out. 3 wins, 5 stage wins on the year, and a decent regular season standings finish as well of 6th. So he's got a decent amount of playoff points. He's actually tied for the second seed with Truex coming into this round. I think those playoff points, if he doesn't have a good run at Darlington or Richmond, are going to be all right for him. The only chance he has of missing this round is if he has a poor finish at Darlington and Richmond, both of them. I think he will have at least decent finishes there. He did finish at 11th earlier this season at Richmond. For that being his worst racetrack on the circuit, statistics-wise, 11th is not bad at all. And again, with the playoff points, that'll be fine. And he did get a top 10, a 9th place finish at Darlington earlier this season, which is something we have not seen in Blaney recently. I think the 750 package kind of helped him out there because his bad finishes at Darlington came with in 2020, 2019 with the 550 package. So I think that was the difference there. So I think Blaney is a good, solid pick for the next round. My last driver who is going to make it to the round of 12 and is going to be eliminated in the round of 12. I have Brad Keselowski moving on into the round of 12, which means, yes, I have Joe and Kurt Busch. Sorry. Kurt Busch has been very good, first of all, on the 750 track so far this season. Really, as a whole, second half of the season, Kurt Busch has definitely been a very good threat for the round of 8. He has great statistical success at Bristol with a win recent there in 2018 with Stewart-Haas Racing. Richmond is going to be his downfall in this first part of the round, but I think he'll still get a solid enough finish. I know he doesn't have a lot of playoff points, but the reason why I have him and Keselowski making it in to the next round, I've been hard on Keselowski this season as well. Keselowski has not had a great year by any means. He has been the 3rd best Penske driver this season. Why I think he gets in over Joey Logano, though, is because Joey Logano's statistical success here in the second half of the regular season has been just abysmal so far, to say the least. Joey Logano also doesn't have a lot of success at some of these racetracks in this round. As far as his last 3 finishes at Concrete Bristol go, 11th, 21st, 16th. He doesn't have a lot of playoff points, only the 1 win this season. Darlington, he's only got 7 top 10 finishes in 15 career Darlington starts. He finished 13th at Darlington there earlier this season. Richmond's going to be his high spot. He could definitely go out there and win that race, but if he does not have a solid run at those other 2 tracks with the lack of playoff points, I don't think that's going to help him. Also, Joey Logano has been absolutely struggling here as of late. He's only got 2 top 10 finishes in the last 7 races, and he has crashed out of a lot of those races as well. So problems for Logano and that Penske team. I do not see Joey Logano making it into the round of 12. There always seems to be that upset every year in the round of 16. That one driver you would expect to have a deep playoff run is going to get eliminated. Last year is Blaney. I think it's going to be one of his teammates this year of Joey Logano. As far as the round of 12 goes, these are the drivers who I think are going to make it into the round of 8. That will be solid locks there. Denny Hamlin, the best super speedway racer in NASCAR today. So I don't think he'll have a problem with Talladega. He's been very good on the road courses this year, and just all the way around has been very consistent. I know he doesn't have any wins, but that consistency should show again in this next round. Another driver is Chase Elliott with the Roval coming up. I think that's a good shot he can have of winning that race. I don't see Chase Elliott have a problem making it into the next round. He also has a win at Talladega in his career. And the 550 tracks have been stellar for Hendrick Motorsports so far this season. Another driver is going to be Kyle Busch. I think he is a solid lock for the next round as well. Kyle Busch it has great statistical success at the road courses in NASCAR. It doesn't matter what road courses they go on. We've seen him perform well at the new road courses, the road courses he's got a lot of experience on. I don't think the Roval is going to be any problem for him, really. I also don't see Vegas being that big of a problem. His biggest weak point is going to be Talladega in the round of 12, but I think there's going to be some other drivers that are going to have not so good runs at Dega as well as another race in the round. I think Kyle Busch will be fine. He's got playoff points. He is coming in, I believe, as the number 4 seed in the playoffs. So I think that is going to be all right for him. The number 1 seed, Kyle Larson, is an obvious lock for the next round as well. As far as Kyle Larson goes, again, very solid at road courses. He's got 2 road course wins so far this season. The 550 tracks, he won at Vegas earlier this year. They raced at Vegas there. So again, another driver who I think might have problems at Dega, but the other 2 races will pick him up. Plus, he's got far more playoff points than any other driver in the field. That is going to be a success as well. Blaney, who I think is going to skim his way into the round of 12, is an easy lock for the round of 8. Only because of the round of 12 races. He has a win at the Roval. He has a win at Talladega in his career, so I think he's going to have great runs there. And at Las Vegas earlier this season, he ended up getting a top 10 finish, also finished top 10 there last year in the fall. He's been very good on the 550 tracks, has 2 wins on 550 tracks this season. So I think Ryan Blaney is going to be a solid lock for the next round. Drivers, also another solid lock for the next round is going to be Alex Bowman, I believe. No, sorry, sorry. No, sorry. Actually, yeah, let me just go into the eliminations. That's what I was going to do anyway. So, drivers who I think will definitely be eliminated in this round, I think that's where Kevin Harvick is going to be eliminated finally. Kevin Harvick has little to no playoff points. He comes in as the 16th best driver. I think he will have consistent runs on the 750 tracks versus the 550 tracks. Vegas being a 550 track, not going to be so hot for him. He may run well at Talladega with him being a Ford if the Fords continue to run well as they have on super speedways this year. His biggest downfall is going to be the road course at the Charlotte Roval. The lack of playoff points he's got, I don't think he's going to get a good finish at the Roval. His finishes on road courses so far this season have been abysmal. 14th, 8th, 27th, 22nd, and 37th in the last 5 road course races. Also finished 11th at the Roval last season. Not great when you don't have a lot of playoff points, so I think Harvick's going to be eliminated. I think Brad Keselowski is also going to be eliminated this round. He can very well go out and win Talladega. He's got a win there already this season and 5 career wins at Dega as a whole, but I don't think that is going to be enough to back him up in this next race. Again, a lot of it is the road courses. Keselowski on road courses in NASCAR this year, the last 5 of them at least, 24th, 35th, 13th, 15th, and 19th. The last 5 races on road courses, so even worse than the last 5 races on road courses for Harvick. I think Watkins Glen and Indy back-to-back really proved how bad Keselowski is at road courses that are not Watkins Glen. And even this year, Watkins Glen, he had a bad run. So I don't see Keselowski making it on into the next round. I don't see Martin Truex Jr. making it into the next round either. He is probably my biggest shocker to be eliminated in the round of 12. A lot of it is Talladega. He has not won on a super speedway in his NASCAR career. As far as his finishes this year on super speedways, not great at all. 29th, 31st, and 25th on the 3 super speedway races. And even when you look at the road courses, although Martin Truex Jr. is one of the better road course races in NASCAR, that is not the case this season. If you count the Busch Clash, 7 road course races have been ran in the Cup Series so far. He only has 3 top 10s to show for. So although he has had success on road courses in the past, it has not been that great this season. If they unload slow out of the gate as they have for most of these road course races so far this year, he is going to be in trouble if he has another bad run at Talladega this season, which I think he will. So that is not going to be good for him. Drivers who I think are going to skim their way on into the round of 8 is going to include Christopher Bell in the 20. Bell is very, very solid on road courses, especially this season, as we have seen. So I think Bell could be a solid lock for the next round. He's just really got to survive Talladega. If he can survive Dega, I think he'll be in good shape. Um, and then as far as the other drivers who are going to make it, I think Kurt Busch is a solid lock for the next round. He has been super, super solid on the road courses this year as well. He has only finished outside the top 10 on a road course once in the regular season so far this season. So that is really solid for Kurt Busch, or sorry, twice, but one of which was at Coda where he was running and battling for third there in the late laps before power sliding in one of the corners in the rain. He just hydroplaned and almost took out Kurt Busch, or sorry, his brother Kyle Busch, but he was able to survive that race. And although he finished outside the top 10, he had a good run going. He all outside of that has finished in the top 6 4 times on road courses this year. So I think Kurt Busch is going to be fine. He also won at Las Vegas last season. His only win this year came on a 550 track as well. In fact, his only 3 wins with Chip Ganassi Racing as a whole have come on 550 tracks since 2019 Kentucky, and then obviously last year at Vegas, this year at Atlanta. So I think Vegas will be a good race for Kurt Busch as well. So honestly, if he just survives Talladega, I think Kurt Busch will be fine for the next round. And another driver is going to be William Byron. His consistency has been very, very good this season. I think that kind of consistency, similar to Denny Hamlin, is good enough for him. He's run well on the road courses in his NASCAR career, just hasn't really gotten the finishes he kind of deserves. But if he could just do that and sink it in, the 550 tracks have been brilliant for Hendrick Motorsports this year. Byron's only win this season came on a 550 track at Homestead, so I think that's going to be good. The driver who I think is barely going to get eliminated in the round of 12, and this was very tough for me to put him there, it was going to be Alex Bowman. The only driver I considered swapping him out for was going to be Christopher Bell, and the only reason that I have Bowman eliminated is because of his stats on super speedways as well. I'm just basically banking on the fact that Bell can have a better finish on a super speedway and maybe survive the big one, and I don't think Bowman will. Bowman's stats on super speedways, he's only got 4 top 10s in the last 11 super speedway races. That is not good. Also, a weak spot for Bowman has been Vegas. I know the 550 tracks have been very, very good for Hendrick Motorsports this season, but particularly for Alex Bowman, his career stats at Vegas have been terrible. Only 2 top 10 finishes there in the last 7 Vegas starts. Why is 7 a decent number there for the last however many starts at Vegas? Because that is since he moved into Hendrick Motorsports in 2018. So only 2 top 10s to show for there. He did not finish in the top 10 there earlier this season. I think of all 4 Hendrick cars, he's been the weakest link. So I feel like Bowman is going to get eliminated in the round of 12. Now in the round of 8, who do I think will advance to the championship 4 from the round of 8? First, we got to start off with Kyle Larson. I think he's an obvious lock for the championship 4 once he gets that far into the round. Very good on 550 tracks this year. Obviously, he's got a ton of playoff points as well. He can very easily go out there and win either Kansas or Texas. His weakest link is going to be Martinsville, which he finished 5th at Martinsville earlier this season. So if that's your weakest link, I don't see why Larson should be eliminated anytime before the playoffs. See, the difference with him and Harvick is Harvick doesn't have good statistical success at Martinsville. So going into that race last year with him being closer to the cutoff line with a bad run at Texas, I knew it was going to be tough for Harvick to get on into the next round. I didn't think he was going to be eliminated, but I knew he was going to have a tough time. And I don't think that's going to be the case with Larson. So I don't think we're going to have a repeat of last year where we see the best driver throughout the course of the year miss the championship 4. Another driver who I think is a solid lock for the championship 4 is Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch is a really, really solid driver as a whole this season. Again, the 550 tracks, he has a win at Texas last season in the playoffs. Texas is obviously in the round of 8 this year again. Also, he won at Kansas earlier this season. Kansas was a track that Kyle Busch won at earlier this season. So if he just runs super solid there, we know he's a really good short track racer. So Kyle Busch should be a pretty good lock for the championship 4, assuming, again, he just makes it through Talladega, essentially, in the round of 12. And even if he skims his way into the round of 8, I think he should have no problem making it to the championship 4. The drivers who I think are going to be eliminated this round, we'll start off with Kurt Busch. Kurt Busch's weakest link is Martinsville. He's only got 4 top 10s in the last 14 races at Martinsville. He finished 15th at Kansas earlier this season. I know he's been good in the 550 tracks. For whatever reason, Kansas has not gone his way. He also blew an engine in the playoff race last year on a 550 track at Kansas and Vegas, or sorry, at Kansas. Yeah, my bad. It was Kansas that he blew the engine because that's what pretty much cost him in the round of 8 before he even really got the ball rolling after he made it there. So tough break there. And Texas is his best track in this round. He finished 10th in the All-Star race there this season. I just don't feel confident with Kurt Busch making it to the championship four compared to a lot of these other drivers. Christopher Bell, I think his run comes to an end. Round of 8 would be spectacular for Bell in his first season with JGR, and I think that is very well possible. I don't see him making it into the next round. He's been inconsistent on the ovals this year. I think his run at the Roval will be good enough to get him into this round of the playoffs. But the lack of playoff points going that far, once you get into the round of 8, that's where playoff points really become a factor. I think that's going to be the downfall for William Byron as well. It's going to be the playoff points. His career stats compared to these other drivers who are going to have in the championship four are not as good at these 3 tracks, particularly of Kansas, Texas, and Martinsville, especially Martinsville being the weak link for William Byron. So I have William Byron being eliminated. So it was 3 drivers that I had a very tough time in trying to predict who was going to make it to the championship four. I knew Larson was going to make it. I have a good feeling that Kyle Busch is going to make it. But the 3 drivers of Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, and Ryan Blaney were the 3 I really had a hard time trying to decipher, 2 of which will make it in. And why it was hard to decipher is because they're all good at all 3 of these racetracks for the most part. But there is a weak link at some point in time. If you had to go statistically, I think the weakest link for Denny Hamlin is going to be at Texas, even though it is a track he has won at in recent years. I just don't see him having a good run there. He did not have a good run in the All-Star race this season. Also had a bad finish in the fall at Texas last year. I mean, he could very well turn that around. He could very well get a good finish there. I mean, honestly, all 3 of these drivers could get top 10s at each and every one of these racetracks, and I honestly do expect that out of them, too. Chase Elliott, I think, is the most deserving to make it to the championship four of these 3 drivers, and the reason why he won at Martinsville last year, I think he'll have a lot of success. He also has a win at Kansas in the playoffs a couple years ago as well, back in 2018, if I remember correctly. And then you just decide it's Denny Hamlin and Ryan Blaney. And I try not to put my heart into this. And if I was just looking at the stats, I'd probably lean more towards Hamlin. But Blaney's got far more playoff points than Denny Hamlin as well. And that is a big factor in this. And that is the only reason I have Blaney in the championship for over Denny Hamlin. 3 wins to none for Hamlin. Hamlin missing out on that regular season championship and those extra 6 playoff points really costing him, in my opinion, getting in over Blaney. Because I do think it's going to come down to 1 or 2 points between, maybe even less. It might come down to a tiebreaker like it did last year. It's very well possible. And Ryan Blaney has had very good success at Martinsville in recent years, but so is Hamlin. Again, Texas was a track that Blaney ran very good on, finished top 5 in the All-Star race. Last year in the summer race there, he won the first 2 stages, led well over 100 laps. Pithouse tried to pit from the 3rd lane and caused a caution after Blaney had already made his final stop. Was the only reason Blaney did not even have a chance at the win there. And then Kansas. I think Hamlin gets the upper hand at Kansas, but Blaney in his last 2 starts at Kansas has been super solid there as well. Jeez, man, it's tough, but I think I do have to go Ryan Blaney. I think I just got to. Even coming into this video, I was like, don't second guess yourself, and I almost did. I almost put Hamlin in the championship four over Blaney, but I have to stick with my guns. And I think the playoff points that Blaney has with the number 2 seed versus Hamlin, the number 7 seed, coming into the playoffs, I just think that is the only difference. Because I think they're all 5 of those drivers between the Champ 4 I have right now and Denny Hamlin, I think are going to have super solid rounds of 8. But Hamlin's got the least amount of playoff points of all of them. So I feel like Denny Hamlin's going to be the one eliminated. Going into the Championship 4 now, I looked up the Phoenix stats of Kyle Larson, Kyle Busch, Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney, as well as their statistical success so far this season as well. And I put it into comparison. I think the driver who is least likely of these 4 to win the championship is Ryan Blaney. Blaney does have good success. All these guys have good success at Phoenix. Blaney's last 5 finishes there, 10th, 6th, 37th, and 3rd twice. So he has good success there. I just feel like of the 750 tracks so far this season. Uh, Also, Blaney has run really well, but I'm trying to talk myself out of this, and the reason why is simply just because of the other drivers have had more statistical success this season as a whole than Blaney. Blaney's just kind of been the hottest driver outside of Larson since Pocono earlier this season, really. And I think that kind of consistency will get him into the championship four. But once we get to Phoenix, I just have more confidence in this one particular driver. Chase Elliott, I know he won at Phoenix last season and won the championship, and he had a top 10 there earlier this year. But outside of his last three Phoenix starts of fifth, first, and seventh, it has been pretty bad for him at Phoenix. I just don't have the trust that he can keep that consistency going. Compared to these other drivers, he could very well go off and click 3 wins out of the last 5 races like he did last season. But knowing his teammate at Hendrick Motorsports has been better than him all year long, and I feel like he will be better than him even later into the playoffs this season, I don't have Elliott going there. My championship four was decided between Kyle Larson and Kyle Busch. I think it might very well be the Kyle and Kyle show to decide the championship in the 2021 NASCAR Cup Series season. I have Kyle Larson winning this year's championship. So Kyle Larson will be my champion. And I looked at the statistical success between Kyle Busch and between Kyle Larson at Phoenix. Kyle Larson, 7th, 4th, 4th, 6th, and 3rd in the last 5 Phoenix races. Kyle Busch in the last 7 Phoenix races has 5 top 3 finishes. But if you look at this year at Phoenix, Kyle Busch struggled and he finished 25th. Also, he finished 11th in the playoff race last year at Phoenix. So his last 2 races at Phoenix, he's not finished in the top 10. But the races before that, he was super solid. And I think you have to go off of recency bias when you go on the Kyle Larson versus Kyle Busch show. Kyle Larson's just been that much better this year and better statistical success this year at Phoenix particularly as well. How could he not take Kyle Larson for the championship at this point? There's some valid points that maybe he can get eliminated before the championship four. I just don't see it happening with Phoenix and Kansas being in the round of 8. And again, even Martinsville finished 5th at earlier this season. I just think Kyle Larson is the easy favorite for the championship, and he is my personal pick to win the championship of the 16 playoff drivers. So there's the drivers, what rounds that they will be eliminated. The champ for Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney. Comment down below, who do you think will win the championship? Who are your championship 4 picks? And how did you think my playoff predictions went fully in depth there? Like, share, and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.